I believe, ladies and gentlemen, God's talking to the Gate Church about how to be connectors to people, to connect them to information, to connect them to other people, to connect them to opportunities, to connect them to hope, to connect them to freedom. And here's what I am convinced about is that this church exists to connect people to God. We exist to connect people to God.
And now we need you. They need you. God needs you. It's a funny thing, isn't it? Being a servant. In the world's eyes, you are lower, but in God's eyes, you are higher. In the world's eyes, it's demeaning, but in God's eyes, it's leadership. In the world's eyes, it's foolishness, but in God's eyes, it's wisdom. So I guess the question is, whose vision do you see? Into the future. Close your eyes and see. The normal of then is the standard of the now and the foundation of the future. So where do we go from here? See, I'm doing a new thing. New not just to be new not just to be different, but new to be better. Together we will advance upon the territory given to us. But it will take faith. Faith for the unknown. Faith for the unseen. Faith in the Son. And faith is one. Faith moves mountains. Faith pleases our Father. And faith takes action. Faith without works is dead. So wake up your faith.
I don't think I'll ever forget the very first day when the Gate Church became a living reality in September of 2012. We had been striving to give birth to something in Oklahoma City that would be a new season, a new day. And the worship team was on the stage, and when we opened the doors, they were already singing. And one of the songs they sang that day is, "I'd rather be a keeper of the door." That we recognized that we were people that had been called to handle an access point into the presence of God. We unveiled that huge banner that rolled down on the front, and we just announced it's the Gate Church. And what gave birth to that was we were praying and seeking the Lord. The Lord took me to Genesis 28, where Jacob wrestled. He laid his head on a pillow, had a dream of a ladder reaching from earth to heaven. There were angels ascending and descending. And when he woke up from the dream, he said, God was in this place and I wasn't even aware of it. He said, this is the gate of heaven, and it's none other than the house of God. And when I read that passage, something just came alive in us that we were called to be an access point, a place where heaven and earth interacted and touched each other, and that lives would be changed because the answers were coming up and down the ladder. And that was the beginning. That day, God began to do strategic things. And over the course of the next 12 months, our average attendance jumped over 400 people in the life of our congregation. And there's a lot of stories of people whose lives were changed. There were people who were impacted and have continued to be ever since that day.
I started working in the parking lot about 7 years ago. And then, we got involved with connection groups. Then now we're leading our own connection group, and I've learned so much just because I was a very young Christian when I came here.
The kids are involved now too. They come in every Sunday morning. They help in the cafe with stocking things. They're just excited about that. They can't wait to get up and get here. And then to help Jeff put flags out in the parking lot.
And I think it's teaching them a lot of valuable lessons that they need, and it seems like it's brought our family closer together and have experienced so much breakthrough in our lives, with our jobs, with our our personal lives, our marriage, our children. we've got to know so many different people that has really touched our lives.
For those who come today and are part of the Gate Church and you see a big 30-foot fireplace and an incredible warm area for people to sit at, the big table that's there, you recognize that, this is a welcoming place. There's a cafe. None of that was there in that form at all. And I can never forget walking down the hallways when there was a carpet that had duct tape across it. And the Lord said to me, He said, if you won't despise small beginnings, I'll do great things. And I learned that I just had to say, you know what, I'm leading a great group of people. And when I drive onto this 32 acres that God's allowed us to have, I recognize it's not a monument to man. It's nothing to the glory of a man. It's just God's witness. So when we didn't have anything but carpet and duct tape, we polished it. The duct tape shined. But when we had a capability and an opportunity and people rose up and we possessed the property as the Gate Church, we started ripping out hallways. We started ripping out that grand foyer. I'm going, man, it's almost like we're building over from the ground up. And I just felt in my heart that God was saying, I'm giving you a chance. I'm giving you a chance to do this again for a generation that's coming. You, as an incredible group of people, have invested over almost $4 million in remodeling over the last 7 years. That's been amazing. Went to the cafe, made it a fully licensed, credible cafe to function. Then we started in the MAC building and began to built 2 gymnasiums that have been used by our city, high schools, colleges, the Thunder. Our desire is we want to reach people from the cradle to the grave. And so we gave birth to Kingsgate Child Development Center. And today there are 75 or 80 families that come on a consistent basis, and many more on a waiting list. After school programs, we have a huge, incredible commercial kitchen. And the things that have happened there have been amazing.
I got involved at the Gate through the Kingsgate CDC. Started working there in January. And then as time went on, I just seen, more involvement of the church in Kingsgate. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? And so I decided to attend one Sunday, started taking the hub classes, and I'm involved in nursery as serving and part of the Sunday connection group. And that's one big change I have seen with our family is my marriage and just my involvement, and just, I really never gave tithes like I do now, and I've seen how it's impacted our family by, just sowing that seed.
Today we had an awesome opportunity to come down and serve at the Salvation Army here right off North Penn. And man, just really moved by what we see, by what we're getting to be a part of. Each family gets about $250 to $300 worth of grocery. They can come here once a month and do this. You're making a difference in our city. We just get to be the hands and the feet of it. Thank you so much.
One of the things that was so strong in our hearts is that we had to connect people to God and connect people to each other. He made his appeal through us. And the appeal that he made through us was going to come in various forms. One of them was City Reach was formed. We also realized that one of the things that's marked this house is that we're to be a place not only of his presence, but we're to make his praise glorious. That means that it's got an artistic effect to it. So the Lord just gave an idea that we would just start a dance studio, and my daughter Lindsay took on the responsibility along with a team. She formed a whole team of people, and over the last number of years, To the Beat has grown into now what was just 15 or 20, into a couple hundred kids that come from our community. Twice a year they do a musical concert with all these kids dancing from 3 years old up to teenagers and adults. This auditorium is filled with people, and I look across the auditorium and I go, I don't know anybody here. And the first thought is, that's great. This is not a church gathering. This is a ministry of this church to our city, and to see all those families be impacted, and to listen to our teachers who teach their talk about how moms will stay afterwards and say, you know what, we've been having this struggle with our daughter or with our son. Thank you for investing. So it's been a highlight. It's been a great influence across our city. Kathy and I had dreamed about the day coming when we'd have a fully accredited university here to train young adults and to train high school, college-age kids, not only for the work of the ministry, but to really invade the 7 mountains, to go into every sphere of life, to be a witness for the kingdom. Bob Hazlitt came in on a Sunday as a guest speaker, and I'll never forget, he walks off the stage, begins to prophesy to me on the front row, and he said, there's going to be a major university on this campus. And I'm like, I'm just stuck to my seat, because nobody knows that week we had been in a conversation with the largest full gospel Christian university in America, Southeastern University in Lakeland, Florida. They contacted us and said, will you be willing to be one of the campuses in the Midwest of our university?
I go to Kingsgate College, which I'm studying a 4-year degree there for ministerial leadership. Ever since I was 19 years old, I've struggled with anxiety and panic attacks. And in 2016, it got to the point to where I was housebound. Attending Kingsgate and being in the Alpha Track, because we spend time in prayer, we grow closer to God. I walk in purity much better. I learned more about God's presence. My life has changed dramatically from before I started attending Kingsgate.
What was amazing is what began with just a few students the first year, increased the second year, and this coming year, we now have Kingsgate College, which is in Oklahoma City. We have Kingsgate College in Clewiston, Florida. We have Kingsgate College in Lake City, Florida, outside of Springfield, Missouri, in Columbus, Mississippi. We have Kingsgate colleges that are beginning to spread out, and there are literally going to be hundreds of students that will be associated. We have students here in the church today that come from churches in other states because they come here to learn to be trained. We believe that God is calling us to multiply our influence, to multiply our touch, to reach as many people as we can who are away from God. We're not going to let anybody stay paralyzed. We're going to raise the roof. We are raising the roof. We are raising the limitations and everything that looks like has been a barrier for other people. That means that this year, there will be the launch of the next Gate Church. We have already went ahead and signed a contract with a international Christian television channel. So the services from the Gate Church will be broadcast weekly around the world. There's no dream that if God opens it for us, we won't be able to respond to it. I want to challenge people today that there's a lot of visionary things that I'll be sharing, but the real vision is this. When God gives us an opportunity, I want to be able to answer it. There's no place in our city, there's no opportunity we can't reach. And that's why these entire several weeks, I've been just looking for 4 crazy friends. I've been looking for people who'll say, I'll help carry them and see this vision become a reality.
For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And our heart is for the house of God. The house that doubles as a beautiful bride is patiently waiting for her perfect groom. But until the bride, the house of God must stay ready. Ready to reach more people, ready to pray for more souls, ready to tell more testimonies, ready to move, ready to conquer, ready to see the vision. Gate Church, are you ready?